Hello friends, myself Dr. Nidhi Darbari on My Education Treasure. In my previous video on objective writing skills of micro teaching, I had discussed writing instructional objectives. In the present video, I am going to discuss about definitions of instructional verbs. Instructional verbs. Instructional verbs are the heart of learning objective and lesson plan. They are, if used effectively, the best way to indicate and communicate to others specific observable student behavior. The following verbs and their definitions can be helpful when composing instructional objective that describe only the observable behavior. Apply a rule. To state a rule as it applies to a situation, object or event that is being analyzed. The statement must convey analysis of a problem situation and or its solution together with the name or statement of the rule that was applied. In response to the question, is TPKN an English word? The student would apply no because it has no vowels. All English words must have at least one vowel. Estimate. To assess the dimension of an object, event or condition without applying a standard state or measuring device. Given the day of the year and the latitude, the student could be asked to estimate the length of daylight at a particular place. Classify. To place objects, words or situation into categories according to defined criteria for each category. The student could be asked to classify materials according to their physical properties as gas, liquid or solid. Construct. To make a drawing that identifies a designated object or set of conditions. Given a straight edge, compass and paper, the student could be asked to construct an equilateral triangle. Define. To stipulate the requirement for inclusion of an object, word or situation in a category or class. Element of one or both of the following must be included. The characteristic of the word, object or situation that are included in the class. The characteristic of the word, object or situation that are excluded in the class. To define is to set up criteria for classification. The student could be given a number of words and be asked to figure out ways that similar words could be grouped. His response might include statements such as the words that tell color could be grouped together, those that tell feelings of people could be grouped together, and those that don't tell anything could be grouped together. A note should be kept in mind that defining is not memorizing or writing definitions written by someone else. It is creating definitions. The next verb is to order. To arrange two or more objects or events in accordance with stated criteria. The student could be asked to order a number of animal life according to their normal length of life. Reproduce. To imitate or copy an action, construction or object that is presented. Demonstrate. The student performs the operation necessary for the application of an instrument, model, device or implement. As the verb is defined, this is improper use of it. Given a model of earth, sun, moon, device that it may be manipulated to show the orbits of the earth and moon, the student could be asked to demonstrate the cause of various phases of the moon as viewed from the earth. The note is that there is a temptation to use demonstrate in objective, such as the student will demonstrate his knowledge of vowel sounds. Describe. To name all the categories of objects, object, property or events, properties that are relevant to the description of a designated situation. The object is of form. The student will describe this order, object or event and does not limit the categories that may be used in mentioning them. Specific limitations, if any, are to be given in the performance standard of each objective. The next verb is diagram. Diagram: to construct a drawing with labels and with a specified structure to demonstrate knowledge of that structure. Graphic society or mapping are types of diagramming, and these terms may be used where more exact communication of the structure of the situation and response is desired. The student could be asked to draw a diagram of the life cycle of a grasshopper or butterfly. Interpret: to translate information from observation, charts, tables, graphs, and written material in a verifiable manner. The student could be asked to interpret a weather map taken from newspaper. The next verb is distinguish: to identify under conditions when only contrasting identifications are involved for each response. The example of it is: given a list of pair of nouns and pronoun, the student could be asked to distinguish between the two. Compose: to formulate a written composition in written, spoken, musical form, the students could be asked to compose a limerick. Evaluate: to classify objects, situation, people, condition, etc. according to a defined criteria of quality. Indication of quality must be given in the defined criteria of each class category. Evaluation differs from general classification only in this respect. Given several types of material, the student could be asked to evaluate them to determine which is the best conductor of electricity. If you found the video to be informative and interesting, please give a like to the video to motivate me, share it with others, and subscribe it so that whenever I upload a new video, you will get a notification. The next verb is identify: to indicate the selection of an object of a class in response to its class name by pointing, picking, underlining, marking, or other responses. Given several types of material, student could be asked to identify those which would be attracted to a magnet. Measure: to apply a standard scale or measuring device to an object, series of object, events, or conditions according to practices accepted by those who are skilled in the use of the device or scale. Given a container in cubic centimeters, the student could be asked to measure a specific amount of liquid. State a rule: to make statement that conveys the meaning of the rule, theory, and principle. The student could be asked to state a rule covering the use of EI and IE. Predict: to use a rule or principle to predict an outcome or to infer some consequences. It is not necessary that the rule or principle be stated. From a description of the climate and soil of an area, a student could be asked to predict the plant ecology of the area. The next verb is locate: to stipulate the position of an object, place, or event in relation to other specified object, places, or events. Ideational guides to location such as grids, order, arrangement, and time may be used to describe location. The student could be asked to locate a particular desk in his classroom by stating the row it is in and the ordinal position from the front of the room. A note in this regard is that locate is not to be confused with identify. Name: to supply the correct name in oral or written form for an object, class of object, person, place, condition, or event which are pointed out or described. Student could be asked to name parts of speech. Solve: to effect a solution to a given problem in writing or orally. The problem solution must contain all the elements required for the requested solution and may contain extraneous elements that are not required for solutions. The problem must be posed in such a way that the student is able to determine the type of response that is acceptable. The student could be asked to solve the following: 2 plus 3 is equal to. Translate: to translate one symbolic form to another of the same or similar meaning. Given a passage from Shakespeare's play, the student could be asked to translate it into modern American English. Thank you very much for patiently watching the video, and don't forget to subscribe.